What's going on, everybody? This is Greg Fowler coming at you live for the next episode of Real Estate Titans, sponsored by Lion Bolt Media. Now, I'm really excited about this episode. This will be episode 205, and our wonderful, spectacular, incredible guest. I can't even stress this enough how excited I am about having Chris Brown on the show. Chris, it's an absolute thrill and an honor to have you on. You're one of the best and brightest minds in the real estate world, especially on the mortgage side, the lending side. So thanks so much for taking the time. It's an absolute honor. Can't wait to dive in.
Dude, I'm super stoked to just share what I know and maybe a little more than I do know.
This is going to be great. And we were talking before, and I just love it. Chris, I love you're wearing the uniform today. This is absolutely fantastic, my friend. You're looking sharp as always. And I mean that in sincerity, everybody. That's the truth.
Well, you know, it's funny, Greg, because I got up this morning and I was like, all right, I need to go put my old mortgage monkey suit on with the button-down shirt, you know, the blazer, the whole thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. If the message that I'm looking to share with the people that are watching your show is that anybody watching can work 10% of the hours that they're working right now and give up very little income, then I need to dress the way I dress every day. So cash it was. I am wearing my good baseball hat though.
I love it, Chris. And that's the truth. I mean, there's so many different ways to go about it. And I know that everybody who's tuning in right now really is excited to just learn from you and understand your path and, you know, why you do what you do and kind of the takeaways and going into that process. So I guess let's just jump into the first question, which is really just telling everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what your niche is, really what you specialize, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I'm going to have a little thing at the end for those that stay to the end. I'm going to give away my must-have list of things to leverage your business into 2021. So looking forward to sharing that as well. But Greg, as far as my story, I got in the mortgage business 18 years ago, and I thought I was all that in a bag of chips.
Well, I would have to agree with that. Your first process was correct, Chris. Maybe that's my biased opinion, but
you know, I really had this inflated ego and really thought I was a lot better than I was. And then the market crashed. Wow. And I realized, Greg, that I wasn't this A player that I thought I was. I was a B or a C player. Wow. Hiding in an A market.
Interesting. Okay.
And this was a very humbling experience for me. And it wasn't fun to go through, but candidly, I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm glad through God's grace that he allowed that to happen to me. And I realized that something that I had to come to grips with for myself is how much is enough? How much is enough? Because I was going through that more, go,
right.
This achievement above all else mentality. And in the real estate world and in the mortgage world, it's just the same. There's a lot of that pushing, that driving to do more. But what I didn't want to have happen, Greg, is I didn't want to turn around and my kids grew 3 inches and I missed it.
Wow.
And sacrifice my family at the altar of achievement. So what I did is I said, how much is enough? You know? Yeah. And I came up with my number and then the goal was, okay, well, how do I make that, Greg, and do it now in fewer hours? And then the next year, do it again in fewer hours and basically over time, buy my life back.
And Chris, the fact that you are really addressing this to the audience, I think is crucially important. And I know that everybody's really appreciating the tone of where we're going with this. There's so many high producing, high personality individuals in the real estate space. And they're always pushing, they're always wanting more. And it's never enough. But I love the fact that you really took a look at the understanding of the sacrifice that's a part of that. And you've been there, you've done that, you bought the t-shirt, Chris. You're coming from 18 years of top producer experience and really understanding the differences between it. So everybody out there, if you didn't catch the intro ahead of time, take a look at that video intro. It's got a quick breakdown of Chris and his accolades. But I think that really breaking that down in further detail for everybody is what everybody's excited to tune into here in a little bit, Chris, to really kind of give your information and background into that. But I just know that there's always that give and take, and the balance is very difficult. And, a man of your caliber being able to do that and really learn and grow and continue, it's really exciting, Chris. And I'm glad you're here to share that.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, that life didn't suck.
Right.
Because, you're trying to figure out where do you put the money.
Mm-hmm.
But my kids were growing, and my children still aren't that old. They're 8 and 12. But the fact that I work now 4 hours a week in my mortgage business allows me to be there. We homeschool our children so we can pour our values and our beliefs and everything in them, because there's nothing more important than what we're giving the next generation. So the question was, okay, well, how do I balance these things? And I think everybody, especially those of us that are driven and have operated at a high level, it becomes kind of this trap that we build for ourselves, or the proverbial golden handcuffs.
All right.
But when I said, okay, well, how do I start to build this backwards? That was a very important time in my life. But then as I started to do that, and more of my time was my own, I realized, and this is just as important, if not more important, than that first epiphany that I had, Greg, and it's this, is who am I to put a cap on God's gifts that he's given to me and say, I got mine, I'm good. Who am I to do that? Right? Because I'll bet you, Greg, it takes more to go from 0 to kind of what I determined my number to be than to go from that number to $1 million a year.
Sure.
Because by then you've built the habits, the connections, you've got the systems and processes in place. All of that stuff is in place. You just need to start doing these micro tweaks and turn the dials a little bit more. Right. But the catch is you can't fall back into that trap of achievement at all costs, because the price you pay is way too high. Wow. So I'm like, how do I reconcile these two epiphanies that I've had in my life of what's my number, how much is enough, and not put a cap on what God has blessed me with. Wow. So you want to know the secret?
Yeah. I mean, that's where everybody's at right now, Chris. And I know that you're hitting so many chords right now with talking, because those two thought processes, there's so many people who are tuning in right now, whether you're watching or listening, they're wanting to know, okay, Chris, I feel the same way. So what do I do? How do I make this happen? Right. So what's that look like?
You give it away.
Listen to that. He whispered, everybody. So Chris, you said you give it away. So
give it away.
Yeah.
Right. So that keeps you from falling into this trap of more, but not putting a cap on the skills, the talents, the blessings, the connections, the relationships, the tools, the systems, the processes, everything, and allow that to work for God and not for me. So that it's a blessing to my community. It's a blessing to those that I'm able to become in contact with without it feathering my own nest. Wow. So that is how, and I'm sure there are other ways, Greg, but this is how I reconcile of how much is enough so that I'm really focused on the things that do matter.
Right.
But we got to be honest. We got to make money because, I've become pretty attached to living indoors.
Right.
You can probably, I don't miss many meals.
Hey, that's not a bad thing, Chris.
But at the same time, it's not this achievement at all costs and sacrificing all of these other things. So that's really how I was able to marry these things together. Wow. And my goal is to give away $640,000 a year.
Wow.
And for that to just go out and serve other people.
I mean, I think that when you're looking at it from that standpoint, it's an inspiration to really to listen and feel your passion of who you are and what you do and why you do it, Chris. I think that that's really giving everybody an understanding of those points. And I know that there's so many people that can really take this information and run with it. And one of the key indicators for this particular series, and obviously for everybody out there who's tuning in, is they really want to know some of the details. Really, at the end of the day, how some of the best and brightest minds have reached what they've reached and being able to balance what they balance. So I guess the next question into that though, Chris, is, if you could look back at your career and, 18 plus years of doing what you do, and pick or choose a few things that you might have added or implemented or changed, whether it's a system or if it's support staff or a mindset or anything that you're going through that took your business up to another level. And we're not just speaking purely production. We're talking about,
Right.
really up and helping the community and doing more and serving more, whatever furthering success means to you. What have you done? What advice would you give out to anybody that's here?
Yeah. So baseline is believing it's possible. And trust me, I'm nobody special. And if I can do this, anybody can do this. But the first thing is belief that it's possible. And if you don't think that it's possible for you, suspend that disbelief just long enough to harbor and to grow the thought that what if? What if it were possible? And
Right.
you'll be surprised how that can grow. So the first is the mindset of belief that it's possible.
Love that.
The second is leverage, right? We got to leverage, and we're either doing that with a who or a what. We're leveraging with a who or a what. And for me, I use the VA blueprint to be able to start hiring folks that could do the things that ultimately didn't move the needle for my business, because there's a lot of stuff. And I'm sure this is true with the real estate side as much as it is the mortgage side.
For sure.
You prospect, and boom, lots of business comes in. So now you got to do the stuff. So what gets sacrificed when you're doing the stuff?
Right. The prospect.
The prospecting.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you end up on this never ending roller coaster of ups and downs in business because you got to do the stuff.
Right.
And the prospect.
Well said.
So by leveraging through the who, and a lot of this can be done through virtual assistants.
Okay.
You can leverage out some of the follow-up and follow-through. You can leverage out some of the stuff. I mean, there are things as licensed individuals that we need to be the ones doing, or somebody on our team that's licensed. But I didn't start this with a team. And for those that have never hired a virtual assistant, and the idea of it is just kind of, number one, go back to the mindset, right? It's believe that it's possible, but you're already outsourcing things right now.
Well said.
Do you do your own dry cleaning?
Nope.
No. I mean, I don't wear shirts right now that need that anymore, but what I did,
right.
I didn't do my own dry cleaning. I outsourced that to the dry cleaner. Now they just happen to be 3 miles from my house instead of on the other side of the planet.
Right.
Right. But the principle is the same. So if there's this idea of I can't use a virtual assistant, you already are, you're just not calling it that. So you can leverage the who. And then you can leverage, what are you leveraging? You can use, you're doing automation.
Sure.
Right. You're automating the lead generation. You're automating the follow through. You're automating the nurture. You're automating your social media activity, because a lot of times, and the folks watching, if you're watching this right now, you probably have this thought in your head that I should be doing more on social media than I am, but I don't know what to do that's going to create commission checks.
Well said. Well said.
Right.
Guys.
Because we all have that nagging thought of I need to be doing more, and it's almost paralyzing.
Right.
But what if there was something that was already created that you could implement, and it's doing all of that for you, and then all of a sudden turning social media into a revenue stream for you? How cool is that? Right. I don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I think that's the way to look at it, Chris. And you're bringing up, tons of valid points, when it comes to that, whether it's automation or leverage or utilizing technology, really to grow and scale, but not to kill yourself in the time frame. And that's going back to kind of your 4-hour work week sort of scenario. Instead of the 80 hours, right? You can get so much more accomplished through leveraging and automating. And you and I are both moderators for Lab Code Agents. So big shout out to Lab
Big
Code.
shout out. Yep.
And we're both firm believers in the tech space, and obviously, working with real estate professionals along those lines. And I think that, there's lots of sources out there too. So understanding, hey, where do I go? What sites do I use? Who do I talk to? There's one source right there that you and I could easily throw out and say, hey, check out Lab Coat Agents on Facebook.
Check out Lab Coat
It's a
Agents.
great community. You can learn a ton from there. There's some of the best and brightest minds out of there. So I just wanted to give them a quick shout out, not to deviate the conversation, but I thought
and one of the things I love about Lab Coat is Tristan and Nick. They got a heart a lot like you, Greg, where you want to be able to just overload people with value, where they're like, you know what, this is somebody that I can follow. This is somebody that I can trust, because I can tell by their actions. I can tell where their heart is.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. And the feeling's mutual, my friend, just so you know. This isn't the mutual admiration club, everybody, but Chris and I, we're kind of like this when it comes to it. It's pretty cool stuff. But I do want to go into a little bit details, because I think that you gave some incredible points into that, Chris. And we're going to have links down below for everybody to connect with you. And I'd highly encourage anybody to please follow Chris on social media. Message him on Facebook directly, because I think that's great communication. We'll have his direct cell phone. And I got permission from Chris ahead of time, so I'm blasting this out to everybody. But it's 321-696-9696. And we'll have it in the comments down below. But Chris, hopefully that doesn't hurt you too much. Hopefully there's not too many DMs or text messages coming.
No, and because I want to be able to remember my mission now is to be able to pass along the journey that I've been on, so others can pour into their children and their family and their community, because ultimately that makes the world we live in a better place. So if you are watching this and you want to shoot me a DM, or you want to send me a text, let me know that you saw it on Real Estate Titans, and I'll make sure that you get the tool list to leverage and make 2021 your best year ever.
Okay. And I love that, everybody. So that's what Chris was talking about at the beginning. If you want that information, please send him a message or a text that's going through. And they can also reach you on orlandomortgagepro.com. That's the main website, right, Chris?
So as far as the mortgage side, if anybody has someone that needs mortgage help, our license is a state license. You know that. Mm-hmm. So if anybody needs mortgage advice in the state of Florida, my team and I would be humbled to be able to help them make smart decisions when it comes to financing real estate. But I think you've got something in the mix too that you could offer these folks.
I'm always open to sharing knowledge for everybody out there too, Chris. And just so everybody knows out there, full transparency, Chris has pushed me, and it's a good thing. I think that it's healthy for everybody to kind of, share. And everybody who's tuned into Titans for all these years, that I'm not really the big self-promotion guy, but I think that at the end of the day, it is important to share and let people know what you do for a living. And for me, it's always been sponsored through Lion Bolt Media, which is the sponsor of the show and my company, Digital Agency. But what Chris is mentioning is there's a great opportunity for anybody who's watching or listening. If you are in real estate and you're looking to grow and scale your business on the digital end, you can definitely take a look at the value video that's on there. It's pretty intense. I was telling Chris earlier, it's about 55 minutes. It's a lot of data. It's a lot of information on what the best and brightest minds in the real estate world. These are the top 1% of 1% of what they do to grow and scale their business online. And I share it. It's all free. You got to opt in. So I need your email. Chris and I were talking about that. It's not one of those things where you just get to watch it on YouTube and it's there. I do need some kind of follow-up for that information. It's taken me well over a decade to learn what I've got in that video. So, but yeah, that's kind of what we're going at. But what did we talk about? How are we? And
I'm just kidding, because I love this about you, Greg, is you are a give guy. And I pulled Greg kicking and screaming. I'm like, dude, you've got to do this. And he squirmed and wiggled, and you could tell the idea of having something there was so uncomfortable for him. But Greg, you have so much to offer people. And while you come from a place of servanthood and humility, people want to know what you know. So you got to be willing to go out there and give it to them, even if you are a beneficiary of that. So I would encourage you to go to Greg's site, watch that video, take copious notes, because it's only going to serve you and your family as you move forward in your business.
business.
Chris, you're the best. I appreciate you. My heart is full because we had this conversation today. I know we could just keep talking all day long. We just scratched the surface of what we can really share with the community. So again, I can't encourage everybody enough out there to really tune in to what Chris is putting out there. Check him out on his sites, on his social media. Also catch him on Lab Coat Agents because he's posting great content up there as well. But yeah, Chris, I want to thank you for your time and all your love and support and everything that's going through here. You are an official real estate titan, my friend. So I need to dub you. That is an official title. There's no trophy. There's no plaque. It's one of those badges of honors that you wear that you got it. And hopefully,
hey, friendship is enough.
I love it, my friend. I love it. But thanks, Chris. I appreciate your time. And everybody out there, thank you, as always, for your time and attention, love, and support. If you like hearing what we're doing with Real Estate Titans, please don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do at this point. And as Chris and I had mentioned, if you are in real estate and you are looking to grow and scale your business digitally, take a look at lionboltmedia.com. If you're looking for that free value video, it's on the top right. You just click free value video. You got to opt in, and then you can watch that 55-minute video. Hopefully learn a ton. If you want to get together with me, you can pick a date and time. We can schedule that out too. We are live here on Real Estate Titans every Tuesday afternoon, a different Titan, a different location. We'll catch everybody in the next live episode of Real Estate Titans. Take care. Thanks, Chris.
See ya.